think that Jesus is that great resource for us in times of pain and suffering. And that if we're not like him in this way, it shows that there's a part of us that needs to grow. Welcome back to another week here at the Ryan's M.Div vlog. I'm very happy to see you, and I hope this video is an encouragement to you. I want to let you know some things that are going on in my life, and also I want to discuss a subject with you, the subject of death. This week my family was able to go out fishing and take my 4-year-old son out for the first time. As you can see, we had a great time fishing, and I really wanted to go to a place where we were going to catch fish, because I feel like when you go to catch fish and don't catch anything, it kind of turns you off to it. And I want my son to feel like this is a fun thing to do and enjoyable. So we went to a place where I was pretty sure we were going to catch some. In this vlog, I wanted to address the subject of death, and I think that it's a difficult subject, but very important to address. And I think as believers, as Christians, I think that we should be people who are very able to handle death, and able to handle death as we help others to handle death, that we have compassion on others, that we have empathy for their difficult situation that they're going through, that we can be a resource for them. Just 2 months ago, my friend Christopher Sherman, a battle buddy from fighting in the Iraq War, he just died of COVID at 34 years old out in Nevada. And really a terrible thing. And I live very far from him, but we did connect quite a bit online and through social media. And when I got the call from our team leader back in those days that he had passed, it was a very sad time for me, and I felt like it was such a surprise and a terrible thing to happen to a young, healthy guy, and there was nothing anybody could do. It was already done. You know, my wife just in the past couple of weeks has gone through something that I think is even a bit worse. She knew a very good friend named Seher Latif, who just passed in Mumbai, India. And even though India is going through a very large and intense wave of COVID, it wasn't COVID. It was another illness that she had that came in a very short time and took her away. She was only 39 years old, and she was a very famous movie producer and casting director in Mumbai, and even in internationally in the United States as well. It's a very sad thing, and she was struggling with that. And both of us encountered these deaths in just the same past couple of months. It's been quite a difficult time. But you know, one thing that I wanted to mention about it was I think that when we go through these things as Christians, I think that what God does in us is he develops us into people that are more compassionate, that can empathize with other people who are going through struggles, whether their struggle is someone that has passed away or whether the struggle is in some other way. But I wanted to ask, as the question of the day, have you gone through difficulties that have helped you to become more compassionate? I have a feeling that that what I'm finding with these different situations make me more compassionate. Maybe it's something that has happened to some others as well. What has surprised me over the years is that I'm 40 years old. I'd be considered a younger person in the church. Generally, in the church, you've got all the different ages, and more people are older than the 40-year-olds than younger a lot of times. And what I've found is that I expected there to be a lot of people in the church that are very helpful in a situation of pain and suffering. People that are compassionate, people that can empathize, people that are a resource for others that are struggling. But it's not always true, and it's been a bit discouraging with some people. I'm talking not just new believers, but people that have been believers for decades that are struggling with helping others through suffering. I feel like there's some problems going on in this area, and of course there could be many reasons for this, but I think that if we're people that are trying to imitate Jesus Christ, who was brought lower than any of us have been brought down, as you can find that in Philippians 2:7, who also relates to us in our time of need, like it says in Hebrews 4:15-16. I think that Jesus is that great resource for us in times of pain and suffering, and that if we're not like him in this way, it's a way for us to grow. It shows that there's a part of us that needs to grow, a part of us that I think is underdeveloped. I believe that this is a good way to describe it. I feel like it's kind of like if somebody was working out in the gym and one arm was bigger than the other because they were working out one and they neglected the other. It would be a bit like that weaker arm that is in need of growth. That I think is what this is like. If someone is a person that's following Jesus Christ and is struggling with being a resource and a helpful person to those that are going through difficult times. I think that when you read the scripture, New Testament and into the Old, you find that we have a very honest and I think balanced view of life where good and bad are both there. Pain and suffering and joy are both there. You know, you don't have an emphasis on one or the other. I think this is the way life really is, and that the Bible has painted that picture very accurately and realistically for us. Jesus never said, I'm taking away all of the pain and suffering you're going to go through. He never said that in any place. And he never avoided all the pain and suffering. In fact, he took on more than any of us will ever know, taking on the sin of the world, taking on great physical pain in his death. And I think that he has strengthened others when they were going through difficulties in the New Testament as well. I think you'll see as you read it that that's what he was doing. He was able to connect with someone that was struggling and to encourage them and strengthen them through it. So I think that's where we should aim to be like that. We should try to be like Jesus Christ in that way. And that this is that resource that we can be just like him. So I think I want to encourage you to be a resource for those that are struggling. One way that you can look into doing this, besides reading the Bible itself and going through situations that are difficult with God to grow in this way, is looking at a book from someone who went through a lot of difficulties, very intense pain and struggling and suffering in their life. And this is a book by Peter Scazzaro called The Emotionally Healthy Church. It's a book that was born out of his very, very low point of struggling. And he realized after he went through that many in the church do not have this part of their life developed or grown. It's really part that is, like I said earlier, underdeveloped and you could say neglected. And that those people not only have difficulty going through struggling themselves, but they're not much of a resource for others that are going through suffering. And when you look at the New Testament, I mean, we have to be able to be a resource for others that go through pain and suffering. So I wanted to encourage you with this book, and I want to encourage you with this message. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I think that we can grow in this area and become people that are spiritually strong to help others when they're going through difficulties. So I hope this video is encouraging for you, and hope to see you next week. Stay safe, and God bless.